Views expressed on this program are those of the hosts, guests, and callers, and are not necessarily those of this station, its management, or other advertisers. You're listening to Transformation Talk Radio.
You know that moment when you realize you have mastered your wellness. When you've become so resilient, you can conquer any hiccup life throws you. Yeah, well, me either. But I still ride unicorns. I'll teach you how to become a mindset master. You will learn how your habits and behavior affect your success of nutrition, exercise, relationships, organization, and so much more. It's your reality, and you need to do it your way. Self-care and self-love are anything but selfish. Take charge. Get excited. If not now, then when? Grab your espresso and get ready to talk all things wellness. It's time for Coach, Couch, and Coffee Radio with Coach Peggy Willms right now.
Hey everybody, welcome to Coach, Couch, and Coffee Radio, here with Coach Peggy Willms. I'm on Transformation Talk Radio. You know, I keep thinking there's eventually going to be bloopers for this show where Kat is going to come on the show sooner than when the music cuts, and I'm just jamming here with my guest today, Jessica. We're all dancing and, you know, raising the roof. So listen, on Coffee Time, we come together every Monday, 3 p.m. Pacific and 6 Eastern, and we just sit and chat. That's what we do. We talk about whatever subjects, have some guests on. Today, you know, we all have a heavy heart with horrific things going on in the nation the last few days. I know my heart's heavy, and I'm just hoping today we can lift you up, if just for 30 to 45 minutes. And so it actually made me bring a different mug today. And so I brought my It's All Good mug because I'm just hoping we can find some love and happiness, at least on this show. We are talking about an amazing subject today because something's actually going right in the world of wellness. Namaste. Yes, very good. So today, my guest, Jessica first. Did you bring your mug? You know.
Sure did.
Okay, let's see what it is.
We're all mad here. The Mad Hatter.
The Mad Hatters, we're all mad here. That is true. I feel like that in my world, and I know you do in yours. So, hey, you guys, listen. Today, Jessica is here. She and I are connected personally and professionally. We're going to tell you more about that in a little bit, but we are here to talk about why she's doing well. Why is she doing well in this wellness journey? What does it mean to her? What did it mean in the past? Why is she on the wellness wagon? And, you know, maybe her foot falls off every once in a while, but right now she's hanging on for dear life and doing amazing. So we just want to talk about how things are going in her real world, how she's banishing perfection, how she is working with her introspection and awareness and all those super fun things. So I'm going to introduce this lovely lady with her little side pony braid here. So Jessica is actually the executive producer at Transformation Talk Radio and the Dr. Pat Show. Yes, she is. She has been a lifelong musician, and her passion for learning led her to intern at the Dr. Pat Show. And quite frankly, she was getting her audio engineering degree, but she interned there and she never left. That's really what happened. She just loved it and she has never left. Has it been 9 or 10 years?
8 years, I think, going on 9.
Yeah. Like she never left. That's how cool it is. So when she is not facilitating change or transformation through the network or host or co-host, you're going to find her either in the mountains or paddle boarding on Lake Washington. I didn't even know where you paddle boarded until you told me. And she loves to learn, and she's always playing songs. Let's see how talented she is. Fiddle, guitar, what else? Clarinet, ukulele, right?
Yeah, got to have the uke.
She is a passionate learner, and you guys are going to learn that today in our discussion. So first of all, I want to say welcome.
Thank you. It's an honor to be here, and I'm excited to share my perspective and maybe shock you a little bit on things I haven't told you yet.
Oh, you're gonna have the nerve to tell me live. You guys, I'm going to use this against her. You just wait. So first, I want to tell you how we met. So it's a really funny story. It's actually one of my favorite stories because I would like to talk to Dr. Phil about it. So I've been in my own business for like 3 years, you know, and I had to just have a come to Jesus with myself and realize that I just don't know everything. I know, shock to everybody. But you know that time when you just go, there are just certain arenas that you really suck at and other areas that you do well. Well, marketing, advertising, getting people to knock on my door is not my strong suit. I mean, I can do it, but I just don't love it. So I was out here praying to the gods, every god I could pull in. And I just said, whatever you do, bring some marketing people to me with a plan and I'll listen. I swear I'll listen. So about 6 or 7 days later, I'm getting ready to come to bed and I will go by my computer and I see a new email. I'm like, oh God, it's 11:30 at night. I shouldn't answer it. And I see it's from Jesica Henderson. It's Jessica with one S. So I start laughing to myself. So I'm like, oh, sure, this has got to be a catfish for sure. Because I've seen Dr. Phil, and he always says, look at the spelling. Look at the spelling. Look at the names. So I sit down. I open up my laptop, and I sarcastically, I'm like, hello, Jessica with one S. Because she says the typical, untypical things, you guys. Don't know how I found you. Stumbled upon you on the internet, looks like you'd fit in with us. You just, you're transforming lives. And I'm just sitting here going, sure. So I type, hi, Jessica with one S. Sure. I'd love to talk to you. How about tomorrow at 1? I think it was a Friday, the next day. Well, heck yeah. And look at us. We never left each other's side since then. So that's how we met, you guys.
I love it.
Do you remember it that way? It was kind of, I'm telling the truth. Right?
Yeah, except that you left a part out that your email back to me was like 3 pages long, and I feel like you were testing me.
Oh, I was testing you, sister. It was 3 pages. Now, that's not a shock.
And I knew instantly, I was like, oh, this lady, she's a little weird.
She's a piece of work, right? I was testing you. I think I went into I think that should have been my first blog. I'm going to go dig that back up. That would be a hysterical blog. All right. So today we're going to talk about wellness because obviously you have journeys before we met. And then I want to talk to everybody about what's going on with our kind of coaching relation because we have a personal relationship with coaching and then we also have a business relationship. But today I really, really want people to understand that every wellness journey is different and needs to be honored and works in different ways for people. But I really want you to give them hope. And that's what it's about today. So are you good?
Yeah, I'm good. We'll see how this goes.
What's in your mug, by the way? Hopefully, is it
water?
Yeah,
I'm following my protocol that I do not drink caffeine after 12 p.m.
Oh gosh, that's good. I don't know what else I'm going to learn from you tonight. So I'm excited. I got my pen here. Okay, so Jessica, let's talk about wellness because it means something different for every single person. So, I mean, for me, it means something different. For some people, it might mean getting off medications, or it might mean work-life balance, or it might mean getting more fit for a race or whatever. So let's go back, say even a year ago or something and earlier. What did wellness used to mean to you?
It pretty much meant being at my ideal weight. And it was pretty black and white for me. Like nothing else was really like that was pretty much all consuming for me.
And you're a little on the younger side. Let's just say that to be politically correct. I mean, you're not 53 like myself. See me being, did you see me being totally transparent there? Yeah. So, but that's what it meant to you as a number, kind of a number.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's changed throughout my life, what my ideal weight has wanted to be. But I'm jumping ahead, but I've also learned that I've never been satisfied no matter what that is.
I know. That's kind of an eye-opener, isn't it? Mm-hmm. Okay, so now fast forward. Upon your discovery of this crazy lady, what made you first of all even want to start working with me?
Because there's 2 things. And I really had to dig to find this, to be honest, which is why we're working with you. Because like I said to you, you were all over the place. But there were 2 things that...
Let's define that first of all. That's not going to give me any calls.
No, but because I found hidden somewhere on your website all the magical, like legit work you've done in the wellness field.
Yeah.
And for me, like by legit, I mean legit. Like you have a lot of years in this field and done a lot of things. And so for me, I wanted credibility. And B, I wanted something that I felt like And at the time, my goals have changed since then. But at the time I was like, I feel like I understand exercise. I understand nutrition. I just need somebody to make me accountable, but in a way that's like not going to put me on some stupid protocol that I know I won't sustain, because that's what I've been spending the last 4 years doing, is trying this and trying that. And I think you said something exactly like that on your website, and not, so many words. And I was like, yes, that's what I'm looking for. Real world, like something that will work for me, not cookie cutter. And then at the time it was like, I just need to lose weight. So I figured, let me hire her. And, I was doing the math in my head. So like 2 pounds a week. So, like 6 weeks and I'm good to go. That was my thinking.
I know. I can remember our first email. I'm like, well, 6 weeks, we'll get to know each other's favorite color maybe, but girl, it's a lot deeper than that, huh? So, okay. So now, without getting into all the secret sauce right away, I want to give everybody just a teaser to tell them right now, if you had to say a sentence or two or whatever of what wellness means to you today, sitting in your seat today, what would you say wellness means today?
Wrapping it up is, and I actually came to this morning when I was thinking about this question, and self-love.
Ooh, that's more you could even spell a couple months ago. That's awesome. I didn't know that.
Having like some kind of level of confidence and acceptance for the journey and loving myself through it, instead of like having this absolute beat yourself up hatred about whatever it is. I didn't exercise, or I didn't eat the right thing, or I'm stressed out or whatever.
Yeah.
And there's like this self-love and acceptance piece of it that I feel like that's the biggest thing that I've gained out of all of this.
Oh, I need to take a break so I can go get my tissue. I'm just kidding, Kat. Don't take us to break yet. No, that's sweet. That's awesome. Okay. So very good. Let's go back. So in the beginning of time, and probably in the past, somebody said to you, log your foods, exercise a certain amount of minutes, all of those things. So in the beginning, when we first started working together, we did a number of just kind of cookie cutter things, like tell me how much, you did kind of these wellness logs type thing. In the first 3 or 4 weeks, as you did a fresh start, honeymoon kind of phase, what were your thoughts in the first 2 to 3 weeks-ish? Because remember, there was one really strong assignment that you were given when we figured out your hours, right? You tell the story. You tell the story. What came out when we figured out where you were spending your time?
So the first, I think this was the first week, and you were like, sometimes you're just going to you gave me this big speech about, you're just going to need to trust me, because what I'm asking you to do may not make sense. It may not seem like it's going to get you to where you want to get. It may not think it has to do with anything that has to do with, but just trust me. Mm-hmm. And then you told me I had to stop watching TV and stop being on social media. Basically no screen time for a week, 0, zilch. And I was like, oh.
Do you remember how many hours it was when you tracked?
Yeah, it was close to, this is embarrassing, but it was close to like 30 to 35 hours a week that I was spending between TV and cell phone, just random mindless time.
Screen time. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so that's what we went through to see where you spent, because that's what I wanted to figure out, is where can we shave some time to meet your goals? Because one of the things I hear the most, right, is I don't have time. I put things off. I procrastinate. And I mean, for you, a lot of it was just figuring out what was habit, right? Just flip it on. What was something that you thought maybe relaxed you, or what you and your fiance did together, because it's important to, watch movies or do stuff together. But what fell out of that exercise when I took what did you learn?
I mean, I was shocked, to get real with myself, how much time I was spending. And I mean, the level of awareness about it's not just TV. Like, I mean, yes, it's TV and you're sitting in front of thing and you're not moving your body. And so like I sit at this desk all day for 8 hours. So I don't move my body during the day. And so then the realization that I'm spending 40 plus hours a week not moving my body at a desk, and then another 30 plus hours a week sitting on the couch, I was like, holy crap. Yeah. And I wasn't just sitting on the couch. Like, that's my habits, I realize, is the snacking, the eating that happens while I'm sitting on the couch because I'm bored.
Right. Right. And I remember Sundays were your tough day. And
Mhm.
we've kind of revamped your whole, like your weekends don't even look anything like they used to look at all.
No, I had myself convinced that because I worked during the week and I still worked out and stuff during the week, and Saturdays were like our adventure day. So I had myself convinced that Sunday I literally needed to like have my 8 hours of like just lounging.
Right.
And it's ridiculous.
It was, frankly, I think one of the highest hours of screen time I've seen. If I were giving out awards, I mean, you might be like, top 3.
I've always been an overachiever.
Well, I know you are. We're going to talk about that. But since we are talking about honesty, my show last week was talking about integrity and wellness. And most of the time, I don't have clients that are super honest. So maybe there are clients that watch more TV than you do. They're just not honest with me. So, all right. So let's talk about this BC wellness grade and trying not to be a perfectionist and getting an A. And because we struggled with that, because you are very much a go-getter, hoop jumper, want to get it done right. So did that seem really foreign when I said I'm going to pull you back a little bit?
It was. And then, of course, we laughed about I got an A and getting a B because you told me that week that I could not watch any TV or any screen time. And so I calculated. I literally sat and did the math and I was like, okay, 30 hours is what I normally do. So getting an A would be watching 0 hours. So getting a solid B is like what, an 85%. So I calculated how many hours I could watch during that week in order to get a B.
Right. I know. Gosh, you definitely keep me on my toes. Okay. So when we talked about the 3 wellness pillars, we had nutrition and exercise and mindset. And I know that was kind of a different, approach than maybe some of your other journeys. Because like you said, it was like losing weight, which often means really curbing a diet or getting super, super active. And for you, I just want to disclose to everybody, your eating is pretty much spot on, I'd say, a big chunk of the time. It was these little snacks that were creeping in and some of this comfort binging, which we all do, right? Mm-hmm. And your exercise is pretty much on. So what I want to ask you is, when we talked about those 3 wellness pillars kind of separating the way they are, but yet blending together, what were your thoughts on that when we first chatted?
I didn't realize how big the mindset piece was. Mm-hmm. And I had to get over myself a little bit because I think that's why I've been resistant, is like, I don't need help because I know how to exercise. I don't need help because I know how to eat healthy. And then what I would do is I would do that, but usually I do one or the other, not both, and then not see results and then get frustrated and then say, screw it. And I think that's the piece that has been the biggest for me, is the mindset piece, and realizing, and I mean, we've gone deep into this, like why I do what I do, why I resist what I resist, why I give up, why I'm a fresh starter. And it's given me a lot of insight into who I am as a person. And like some of it, I accept that I just know this about myself. Like, I know this is going to tick me off. And at the same time, I know how to overcome it now.
Yeah. There's always something to uncover, isn't there? I mean, it's like, I can't really disclose a lot of secrets, you guys, but we've gone from stories about old ladies, a little bit older than myself, feeding bread to ducks, which you wouldn't think would go anywhere. But I just have to tell you, it stirred up deep, dark secrets that we were able to solve. You never know, right? Where a conversation or just something is gonna take you. Our Jessica here is a little bit more of a rebel than I think she initially thought.
Yeah, I'm accepting that now too. This last week's rebel assignment, I was like, I'm a rebel. Let's do it.
Tell them what you had to do this last week.
I was supposed to be a rebel. I was supposed to kind of go against, so like even from a food perspective, like we talked about like some of the things that I binge on and introducing those in a way that, see if I could eat them without being a crazy person. And well, that's to be revealed on Friday, but I did okay. I ate a lot of chips, let's say.
Yeah.
But it's kind of fun too. Like I realized going through this list of like, it's kind of, I mean, I assume the point of this is to get people to just kind of get outside of your comfort zone. The whole point of it is getting outside of yourself, your comfort zone, your habits, shake things up, see what falls out. And as we're going through this list, I was like, I've done that, I've done that, I've done that, I've done that, I've done that. but I realized I've done it all 15 years ago. And so I've gotten in myself like in this like little comfort zone habit situation that like going out and dyeing your hair purple is like a wild thing for me now, which it was like not even a wild thing 15 years ago.
Exactly. So what do you think is working now? So, I mean, we have hiccups. Everybody has hiccups. We have good days, bad days, whatever we want to call it. Several things. Let's see. Roller coaster of life. Let's go down that one. So roller coaster of life, you guys, is when you have hiccups that are certain things that you can't even plan on. So it might be if someone lost a job, or it might be, you've had a death in the family or something that's happened. So Jesica, with you, let me just name a few things. So roller coaster of life, which is some interruptions, and then maybe even taking baby steps, because you are a fresh starter. You get excited about a goal, you dive in, you're like, I'm going to do a Spartan race like Thursday. I'm going to hike up this hill for 10 miles with brand new shoes. We went through that route, you guys. But when you look at some of these mantras and you look about your strengths that you have right now that's keeping you on this wellness wagon, what do you think it is? Why are you doing okay now?
The revelation of understanding the pillars, to be honest, because the way you describe this to me, and like if you picture yourself as a wellness being, and the thing that holds you up, that keeps you alive, are the 3 pillars: your nutrition, your exercise, and your mindset. And if something starts to fall, which that's the roller coaster of life, right? Like I sprained my ankle 2 weeks ago, and so I didn't run for 2 weeks. And so my exercise, in a lot of ways, my go-to running thing fell. And so I had to work extra hard to strengthen my nutrition and my mindset pillars and find like creative ways to exercise without running, which like when you're in that habit, it's hard to do sometimes. And so I think that's the biggest thing, is like understanding how everything fits together. And then if one starts to fall, strengthen the other 2 while the other one can get back up. Because what I used to do is that's then the spiral. One falls, then they all start to slowly fall and crumble.
Right. And it happens fast. I mean, we can be in control. I mean, for me personally, if I'm off track 3 or 4 days, it's that small of a window. And that's my world. It's like if I get off track too much in one area, 3 or 4 days, I mean, we're going down fast. So it happens really fast, isn't it? So what would you say today, before we get ready? I want to see what your thoughts are before we go to break. And I want to let everybody know we're going to come back for an after party, so stay tuned. But what would you say in this journey you're on right now are some strengths that you would have never thought that you could have done before, even if you're not at your exact weight goal?
So should I go through each pillar?
Oh, now this is not rehearsed, so I am afraid.
So I'm going to start with the mindset pillar, and that's the meditation mindfulness. I still do that. I went through that with you, and then I went through it with those separate kind of pilot program that you put on. And that is huge for me, because I'm a ball of stress, like more than I need to be. And that is huge for me in just staying centered and working on myself. I would say the exercise thing is just trying to be more creative. Like I'm an all or nothing person. I've always have been. So like today, like I ran a race yesterday. I'm sore, but I still might go like run a half a mile and like meet my pull-ups goal and stuff. Like, and that's okay that I'm only running a mile and doing a round of pull-ups instead of doing something that's like 2 hours worth of exercise. Like it's okay to just do that sometimes.
Oh, that's awesome.
Nutrition, last one, nutrition. Balance, I think, understanding the balance of that too. Cause I think it's the same idea. I'm an all or nothing person. And I realized that like the shame of eating Alfredo pasta that went with that for me is like so ridiculous.
Right.
And so like making conscious choices. Like if I'm like, hey, like yesterday we ran this race. I've been planning for 2 weeks to have a milkshake. So I went and had a milkshake yesterday.
Yes. Good girl.
And I've been planning it for 2 weeks. It wasn't like impulse. It wasn't binging. It wasn't anything. Like I was like, nope, I'm doing this. I know what kind of milkshake I'm getting. Probably going to share some with Jason, but not that much because my milkshake.
It's awesome.
and that like knowing that like, and it's okay. And it was so much more enjoyable than like feeling like a terrible person and I'm not following my diet for drinking a milkshake.
That's awesome. That's awesome. One of the things I remember the most about you is when when I have you fill in that intake sheet. And I always say, what's your weight loss goal and your non-weight loss goal? It's always weight in the first category. I mean, having it just completely plunked out. And you really put a lot of time into yours. Like you really had yourself figured out. And your journey has been so much fun but you know what I have to give you credit for, and then we're going to end and then go to after party. But what I want to give you credit to is that if everybody would just embrace the ups and the downs and the loops and all of that, and know that the breakthroughs come only after the breakdowns. And sometimes you'll love me and sometimes you'll hate me. And sometimes you'll hate when I say, go get an eggplant or whatever, but there's always a reason. And that's what I want to just say thank you to you for, is taking it seriously when it needed to be and showing up and doing the work and being honest, because that's what's transforming you and getting you less emotional with that scale. So you want to stay with me for the after party?
Heck yeah.
Heck yeah. Okay, you guys. Well, thank you. For those of you who have to go, I'm on Coach Couch and Coffee Radio here. I've been with Jesica Henderson, so make sure you listen to the podcast. It's going to also be on YouTube, so you can find me always at Coach Peggy at 3wellnesspillars.com. I want to make sure you email me any questions you have. Who knows, maybe we'll put you on here and have lots of fun with you too. So next week, what to family, WTF. I'm going to be on here talking about family. What do you do when you're on a journey and nobody else is? And you just keep telling me that your teens need to eat more calories. Yeah, really. Doesn't need to be M&Ms. So talk to you next week, 6 p.m. Eastern and 3 p.m. Pacific. Bye.
Okay, we are clear from the radio.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Coach Couch and Coffee Radio. You're here with Coach Peggy Willms and Jesica Henderson.
Hola.
Hola. Welcome back to the after party. This is where we have some fun and we loosen up. So we were talking, you guys, if you haven't seen the podcast before this, you need to make sure you go back and listen, because Jesica was sharing with us why she is on the Wellness Wagon right now and how her journeys have changed. We never even called them journeys back in my day. Like, I don't even know what we called them. I think we called them losing weight or diet, probably. I don't know. But she's sharing with us how she's doing right now and all the things she's learned. So that's what it's all about. I wanted to ask you, Jess, so do you think about the scale all the time now? Or, because obviously you came to me, we wanted to learn some things, right? But it's always a number on the scale, whether it's 5 pounds or 100 pounds that people want to lose. Do you think about the scale much anymore, or what's your emotion to it?
Not like I used to. It's still something I'm working through, to be honest. Like I have to remind myself, like, because yes, I'm still on a path. Like I still have weight that I'm trying to lose, but I'm getting there. And it goes from that dreaded, like, okay, get on. If it's not what I think it should be, literally I'm in a crappy mood, or if it's what I thought it should be or better, I'm like, like happy me. Like I'm trying to level that out a little bit. And I have to remind myself what you tell me is just data.
It's just data. And can you see now that when you embed these healthy habits and you do them and you try your best to live them, like the scale reacts and your inches react and your strength. Talk to what you're doing right now is a goal. I mean, comparatively, let's pretend we'll go back. We are going into our second 12 pack. So we've been together, 3.5, 4.5 months, 5 months, something like that. Who's counting when you're having fun? When you love what you do, it's not a job. But when we went back and you came to me and you were thinking, I want to lose weight, but I'm not going to really tell her that's my goal because this broad says it's not about weight. So whatever. But now share what your goal is this last week. And would you ever believe that that would be the goal? So tell them what you're working on.
Pull-ups. Got to do pull-ups. It's been like a soft goal that I've had, but never actually put any effort to achieve before. It's just one of those things you say I want to be able to do pull-ups. But now I'm actually like, no, I actually want to do pull-ups. So.
Yeah, and it's not easy. And you guys, she sends me videos, like legit, real videos. So we're working on narrow and super wide, 3 different forms, just to really get these pristine, because we are going for an A on the pull-ups. Just saying. I mean, we're not going for like a B. So it could take us a while. We have no time frame on it. It's just, we're going to do, how many did we decide? 3? What did we decide?
3 unassisted.
Beautiful unassisted.
Of the different, each of the different
range motions. Yeah. So she sends me these videos, you know, you run over, push play, run over. And it's funny because the first time she sent them to me, I didn't see the assisted strap that she was stepping on for these pull-ups. So I'm like looking at the video and I'm like, dang girl. I was thinking she's just setting the bar. Like she's already got these pull-ups nailed. So she's like, well, the first set I only did 12, you know, and the second set I did 10. I couldn't quite. And I'm looking at her going, we're changing your goals. Immediately my text was like, my post on our Facebook was like, oh, no. And she's like, did you not see the strap? And I'm like, oh, no, I didn't see the strap.
That was great ego boost, though. Thanks.
Looking good. So did you do better? You were in a race this last weekend that you've done before. So did you do better then? Because we haven't chatted about that since your race.
No, yes, it's similar race, not exactly the same. A little bit easier than a Spartan. Some similar obstacles. Successfully pulled myself up and over the 5-foot wall that I've not been able to do by myself without like a little boost before. So I was excited about that. Monkey bars still got me. That's a tough one for me. And pull-ups and grip strength and stuff will help with that. But overall, yeah, I felt stronger doing it. Like some of the stuff I was like, oh, this is easy.
When's the last one that you did?
I did one a year ago. I did an actual Spartan sprint a year ago and then did this race yesterday, which it's kind of hard to compare the two because they are a little bit different. But it got me motivated because that one felt relatively easy. So now I'm ready to do like a harder race again.
So we've done all sorts of experiments. So like with food, and again, you eat, honestly, you do eat. You're really cognizant of the types of food you eat, the quality of food you eat. You really do pay attention. And so what would you say if I ask you like the top 2 or 3 things, whatever, that you've learned in the nutrition lane about, you know, whether it's portions, I don't know what it is. What would you say you've learned?
I have to be careful about my protein, like more careful than I realized because I'm like way too far in one direction. Either I've had like way too much protein or way too little protein. And I had to figure out how to like balance that. But it also in doing like the sleep cycle stuff with you, realizing that when I eat that stuff matters too. And that's like the biggest shift I've seen in myself is like when I eat, how often I eat, and like tracking macros and kind of understanding portions throughout the day. Shifted how I eat. Like I eat a lot of the same things that I've always eaten, but how I eat and when I eat them has shifted quite a lot, actually.
And that's the toughest part, that unless you work with a trainer and a coach that really gets into you, that's what's so hard to get people to understand, because you can put a group of people together, absolutely, and put them on a nutrition plan and they will probably lose weight or an exercise plan. But for Jesica specifically, to, you know, how do you do with animal protein? How do you do with plant protein? How do you do with eating lunch at 11 versus 1 o'clock? You know, all of those things is just so, it's just so different for everybody. And you are a dolphin, so.
Yeah. And I realized like I was kind of setting myself up to fail, right? When you compound like the way I was eating and then I leave work at 5 or 6 and I'm starving to death. And then my habit was to go then sit on the couch as soon as I get home, right? Or maybe I'll do a workout and then I'll sit on the couch as soon as I get home.
Right.
By that point, now I'm beyond starving to death. And then I completely binge and overeat and overcompensate for being starving. And so if I balance that throughout the day, now I actually eat dinner like closer to 7 and I'm not starving by the time I eat. And so I've shifted that quite a bit in terms of like, now I'm not starving and now I don't overcompensate, you know, that ripple effect. So that's made a huge difference.
So I always do the chronotype. So that's Dr. Bruce's work with sleep cycles, biorhythms. And so if you guys have heard me talk about that, if not, go check out a video on YouTube that I did. But Jesica is a dolphin, and dolphins really need to do what they need to do when they need to do it. I mean, these guys don't even sleep when the rest of us are sleeping, one eye open. So we learned what Jesica kind of needed to do for her. And then you also learned about your love languages, which I think for you really was astounding, because you were one of the handful of clients over the years that I've had retake the test and really say, listen and really look at those questions. Because I knew that you had one love language that kind of creeped to the top, but your top two love languages, acts of service, right? And then words of affirmation.
Yep.
So that wasn't surprising, because your acts of service with what you do, you love what you do, and you give and give to others. But what did you learn about your love languages in relation to wellness?
That was affecting my mindset a lot. Like, because the thing that people often think about love languages, it's like one-sided, but love languages are both sided. And when I had to spin that on myself, and like, what acts of service am I doing for myself? What words of affirmation am I giving to myself?
Yeah.
What gifts am I giving to myself? Like, that was different. And I think that's where this big self-love component has come in for me, because I realized, like, oh, I need to treat myself better.
Yeah. It's such a big, the wheel of life, right? It's just this huge whole component. So do you remember when I had you go into your closet? Try all your clothes on?
Yes, that was actually, that was kind of like the beginning of this, because honest to God, like, I started to take pictures and I hated every single thing. I'm like, I hate how I look in this. I hate how it looks. I hate how big it makes me look. I hate. I
made her try on all her clothes, you guys, so I could see like the types of clothes she wore, the colors she wore, style she wore, whether they fit, how many sizes big. And so, yeah, you didn't like that one very much. But you learned a ton, though. We talked about texture and colors, and most people I find tend to wear 1 or 2 sizes bigger than they really need to be wearing when they need to lose weight. So it's like they keep that cushion, which is so unfortunate, right? And I'm not saying I haven't done this either, but keep 1 or 2 sizes on this side and 1 or 2 sizes on this side. So you're approaching your closet with 5 size range, 4 size range. And that already sets you up to fail, because it's like, well, if I gain some weight, if I lose some weight. So it's like, we need to narrow that gap. We don't need to be having clothes that are anywhere from 10s to 22s. That just doesn't make any sense. But so let's talk about accountability. I want to cover a couple more subjects. So what have you learned with wellness and being transparent, or like telling people what you're doing, or have you had issues with that, or being accountable?
Yes.
This
is a big thing for me right now, like, because I'm sharing this and my mom shared it all over the place. So now everybody knows that I'm doing this journey.
Yes, mom. Love moms.
But it's a big step. I've shared this with a few people in my life, that I'm working with you and that I'm doing these things. And I realize it's both a blessing and a curse, because you now you're relying on what somebody's reaction is to what you're doing. And you have to kind of let go of that. Like, whether they're like, oh, good job, or whether they're like, good for you, I don't really care. Like, you know what I mean? You have to kind of like,
here we go again.
Detach.
Yeah, all of that
stuff.
Yeah. It's one of those things that you try to push clients to get a little bit more transparent, or a little bit more public as you go, right? Because you really are trying to set them up for success and hook them. And so if they can hook into helping others, we always fill ourselves back up when we can help others. So even if it's baby steps of telling, not even necessarily your own story, but just, hey, this is an eating plan, or whatever it is, or let's go do something. But when you get to the level that you have, I would just give caution to the wind here, is just to make sure that don't get hung up in any of this. You could, remember, a roller coaster of life. You could fall off the wagon, literally. And who knows? I'm not putting anything out there, but get sick, whatever happens. You're getting married next year. Things are going to happen, all sorts of events. But you really have to love yourself enough. Jessica, even if people got a C for the rest of their lives, everybody would still be healthier than the A's to F's. I've said forever, if somebody just walked a couple of miles, a mile is 2,000 steps. So if somebody walked 2 or 3 miles a day, every day, for the rest of their life, they are going to be way healthier long-term than a CrossFitter, than, any bodybuilder, anybody who's done. So now what? So if you stay just the same, you're going to keep obviously learning. Now you're transparent and out there. So how does it feel knowing that family, friends know you're working on yourself? I mean, because you're strong, you're bad, you know what, since we first met.
I think it's good. I think if people hear it and like it somehow sparks inspiration for them, awesome. If people hear it and don't care, cool. And if people hear it and have nasty things to say about it, cool. Like I'm in such a comfortable place now that this is my thing and I'm doing it and I'm proud of it. And that's
awesome.
That's that.
Yeah, something really in the last several weeks, there's something that I think you had even said, I'm stronger now than I've ever been or something. I think you literally used the word strong in all aspects, not just physically.
Mentally
strong.
And physically.
Totally. Yeah.
I'm at a level of strength I've never been before.
Oh, see, now you really should have told me I needed to bring tissues. I don't get teary-eyed very often. You're supposed to remove emotion, you know. That's me. I'm not supposed to get teary-eyed till the computer closes. So I want to just talk real quick since Mom's listening. Hi, moms. Hi to all the moms out there. So there's a process I take you through called family, wellness, history, and habits, right? And I'm actually working with a whole family right now, 4 people. So it's very interesting when you dive into that and so here are some examples of that for those of you still listening. We go back and we say, hey, who made the grocery list? Who did most of the cooking? Was there scarcity of food? Was there an abundance of food? Was the family active, not active? Did they lift you up? Were you, was mom on diet pills? Was grandma giving you a hard time for weight? You needed to lose weight. Was the gym teacher picking on you? So we go through a bunch of stuff. What would you say fell out in that? And again, we're not blaming anybody, right? It's just what we've learned. And they learned, and they learned, and they learned. But what did you learn and either rewire or was an aha to you when we went through all of that?
A couple things. And I'm going to start with the positive because I realized in going through that, like, I'm very grateful that I never had anybody in my life shame me or anything. Like you know what I mean? Like that's a trigger for a lot of people is going back and like feeling shamed and,
yeah.
And actually, so my biggest downfall is our lifestyle growing up because my parents own the bar. And so like, I remember my habit, like almost every day coming home from school was like grab an RC Cola and a bag of chips or a Reese's. Like that was every day after school. And it wasn't until I think my 8th grade year, my mom and I went to see a nutritionist. And that was kind of like when habits really started to shift. But by that time, things are still embedded. You know what I mean? So
isn't that amazing how early that starts? And you were an athlete too. I mean, so imagine if you weren't active.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, totally. And that's kind of the life's, and I mean, not to say that all I ate was chips and candy. I think that's actually what my friends thought because whenever we had sleepovers, like we got bar food, right? It was like chicken strips and mozzarella sticks and like people like, oh, you could eat like this all the time. And I was like, no, we don't eat like this all the time. This is a party.
Right.
But however, though, I did have more access to that kind of stuff than the average person.
Yeah, that did get uncovered. So one more subject I want to cover before we let you go. So devil angel, that's the kind of the metaphor I use for the conversations we have in really inside, kind of when we're coaching ourselves, I always say, was when you go off in your world and I'm not there and the cameras have turned off that I have in your house, that ESP thing I have. So devil angel conversations are the ones that you have done a really good job and the devil's saying maybe like, hey, it's okay to have that bag of jelly beans. You ran today. So what is the devil angel? What sticks out to you that maybe just let me know now. Is there anything that's kind of devil and angel conversation in your head that's going on right now?
It's been interesting the last 3 weekends because I've been traveling.
Oh, yeah.
And it's always a challenge. And I think it's always going to be a challenge for me because I'm really good at talking myself into what it is I could just do right now for now. But that's a slippery slope for me because if I allow myself to partake in a rafting trip and eat a bunch of potato chips, I'm going to just want to continue to eat potato chips every day for the next week. And I like mindlessly do it because it's just, like chips.
Right.
And so it still creeps up for me.
So is the devil saying something like, hey, you're not going to be on a rafting trip every weekend. Have fun. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like that talk you into like, it's not a big deal. Everybody's eating chips. There's, you know what I mean? Or I go to the complete extreme and I'm like, well, you really didn't pack that much food for lunch. So it's probably okay to eat half a bag of chips.
Oh yeah. Cause you need the calories because you're burning calories.
I'm burning calories sitting on this raft. I barely even paddled.
Oh, that's awesome. That's what, yeah. While we're drinking beer. All right. So share some final thoughts. What are your thoughts after today's show? Or what would you like anybody to know about how you're doing, where you are in your journey?
For me, if I were to give, are you asking me to give people advice?
Yeah, whatever final thoughts are. Yeah.
No. Because my advice, I'd like to give advice because I feel like I know what I'm doing now.
My job is done. Wellness does not have a cure, but we've cured you.
The biggest revelation for me is that it's a journey and it's always going to be a journey, but it does not have to have like these crazy ups and downs, these 20-pound swings that I've had. Like It really doesn't. I can find a range to live within and stay there and not feel like I'm missing out, not feel like I'm, cutting back on anything. And that's what I'm excited about and striving for, because I was actually just real quick, I was looking at pictures from 2013 and I was from a hike that we went on and I was like, I remember those shorts. I gave those away because they were too small because I didn't think I liked how they fit, but actually they look good on me in that picture. And then I still remember even then not being happy with myself,
right,
and the shame and I'm like, holy moly. So I've come a long way. I've come a long way with that.
And if we can maintain any number, that's the thing that I keep telling people is like, you might not want to maintain in the 250s, people. But, if you maintain in the 250s for a couple of months and then we're in the 240s and then we're in the 230s, you're teaching yourself that you can keep a habit and that you can live within that lifestyle. Now, the goal is to keep getting better and better and better at it. But if we can keep chunking it down versus having the mentality of let's hurry up and lose 50 pounds and try to stay there. Yeah, no. All right. Well, I've loved having you here.
Thank you.
See you Friday morning. Bright and early.
Awesome.
6 Pacific, 6:30 Pacific. Okay, you guys, thank you for being here for the after party. You're again here on Coach Couch and Coffee Radio. Reach out to me, email me at coachpeggy@3wellnesspillars.com. Don't forget to go on my website at 3wellnesspillars.com. You can read some fun blogs. I love doing my blogs and catch all my radio shows, my podcasts there. So I can't wait to hear from you. You need to keep it real. And next Monday, WTF, What to Family. So come on back and hear some of my suggestions on how everybody can kind of live with each other and survive and get healthy at the same time. So talk to you then. Bye.
Thank you for listening to Coach Couch and Coffee Radio with me, Coach Peggy Willms. Did you hear something that made you go, or have an aha moment? I live for those. If not, we will get you next time. I will be back every first and third Monday at 3 p.m. Pacific. The tough love you to become smarter, stronger, braver, healthier, and happier. Duh. I will be back with a barrel of positivity, and you never know when a guest might pop in. There is no time for excuses. So don't forget to bring your coffee and an open mind as we talk all things wellness on Coach Couch and Coffee Radio with me, Coach Peggy Willms. Now go grab a ray of sunshine.